happens in 1893, 5 years after Professor Rajkrishna speaks. Paul Bayrok was asked, one great economic historian was asked by the GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, to trace the economic history of the world from 1750 to 1900, and he came out with stunning findings that in the year 1750, China was number one country with 34% of world GDP, India number two country with the 25%, and America and England put together had just 2% in 1750. And in 1900, the whole thing turns upside down. America and England raised to 42%. China and India crashed to 8% together. India 1.8%, China 6.2%. That is how India became poor. Many French historians began writing, let us accept that in the 16th and 17th and 18th, even 18th centuries, Asia had a much better standard of living than Europe. But the West could not take it. So they instituted Development Studies Institute, headed by Angus Maddison. Angus Maddison is regarded as the greatest economic historian ever. This work started as soon as Paul Bayrok ended his research. And he said Paul Bayrok cannot be correct and his methods are wrong. But in 2001, he came out with World Economic History, a millennial perspective, which is for 2000 years. Paul Bayrok only for 150 years. Angus Maddison said that for 1700 years, India was the leading economic engine of the world. And China became later and India overcame later. The game was between these two countries till the 19th century beginning. If Angus Maddison's work had taken place earlier than Karl Marx or Max Weber could not have made the assertion that this country cannot economically progress because they were the economic leaders of the world. Conspiracy of chronology. The third point is about our Vedas, which is very important for my subject here, and that is why I am going so much back to bring you forward. Vedas were described by our historian, Romila Thapa, as animism struggling to express itself. Primitive animism struggling to express itself. This was her, and this is what we teach even today. This is what we speak even today. This is what our media writes even today. But something different happens after Newtonian theory was blasted by Einstein and quantum theory develops, in which in the year 1960, I am going to quote to you what Schrödinger, who won the Nobel Prize in 1935, he wrote. He began writing in 1925 and ended in 1960. In chapter 5 of his books, he gives his basic view on Vedanta and says Vedanta teaches that consciousness is singular. All happenings played out in one universal consciousness. There is no multiplicity of ourselves. He fully acknowledges Shankara's view that Brahman was associated with a certain power called Maya, to which is due the appearance of the world. All this is Maya, which we say is what post-Newtonian science is. Everything is atomic. Whether it is atomic, whether it is wave, whether it is spring, whether it is consciousness. This is the discussion today. It was started by Schrödinger and several Nobel laureates endorsed him. And they said Vedas is the greatest gift that this century has given us to understand the mystery of creation. I spoke all this in IIT 2 years back in Bombay. No science graduate was aware of it. Faculties were not aware of it. It is only now the IIT Madras has taken up this, that these are the people who recognized Vedas as scientific. It is no blabbering. Veda is not text. It is sound. It is a communication sound. It can relate to the universe. This is the idea of Vedas. Vedas were not reduced into text except in Krishnadevaraya's period. Before that, Veda was only sound. Any written text gets destroyed. 5,000 years of oral sound has been preserved to perfection. Even today, you can understand the continuity, the strength, and the depth of the civilization. And that it is on that basis that Nobel laureates have said, ultimately it is Vedas and Upanishads which contain the secret of creation.